So hey guys, it's Millie again. If you're new here and if you're a returning subscriber, hey, appreciate you. So let's go right to it. And today I want to talk about fear, how fear keeps us from doing things we want to do. I have been that kind of person who has been led my life with fear for a long time. I don't do that anymore. Let me say I don't do that anymore. I think I don't let fear get so much in the way of the things I want to do. But I know people who let fear get in the way of the things they want to do. I know a lot of people like in bad jobs because they fear doing something else. But I also think sometimes like when it comes to work, I think it's mostly the financial factors of it. But I know like many nurses in here in Denmark, they can all get a job somewhere else because we lack nurses. But also I know many nurses fear of starting over again, because for us nurses, it's not like going from, let me say, somebody who build houses, or let me say somebody like a tailor. You know, when you're a tailor, you're going to continue tailoring in the same way using a tailoring machine. But if you're a nurse and you're working at a unit where they specialize in hearts, it means if you're going to move another unit where they specialize in lungs or when they specialize in bones, you're going to feel like you're a student, you know. So I understand that fear, especially for nurses, but I think many people do stay in situations, even friendships and even marriages, because of fear. There's also sometimes people stay in situations because of like fear of what other people are going to say. Not because of the financial aspect of it, but because they have created maybe this life which is supposed to be perfect, and they're so afraid, like, what are people going to say? I think people who stay in situations because of the financial reasons, I understand. But there's some people who do understand, but they have kids and everything. But there are also people who stay in situations just because they're afraid of what people are going to say. Let me tell you something, guys. People are going to talk. People will talk if you want it or not, and you cannot control what people are going to say. You cannot control what people are going to think about you. People talk. People talk if you're short. People talk if you're tall. People talk if you're small. People talk if you're doing well. People talk if you're not doing well. That's what people do. People are going to talk and people are going to judge you, but let them. Guys, let them judge you, let them talk. At the end of the day, you are the one who is in the situation. At the end of the day, it's your situation. People who are talking, people who are judging you, they're not walking in your shoes. Unless they have walked in your shoes, they cannot judge you, all right? So I think we should not let other people's judgments, what other people are thinking about us, stop us from doing what we want. I've been in situations, for example, when I was studying nursing, I think I said that in one of my stories, that I went to participate in a surgery like a student. You allowed, or they take you to go and participate in these surgeries. So I was sitting there, and they asked me how old I was. I don't know how my age came to be talked about. But during the surgery, you know, they're doing whatever they're doing. The person is laying there. She doesn't even know what we're talking about. And this nurse asked me, like, how old I was. I think I was 40 or 40 something, you know, because I started nursing at late. And she said, oh, by the time you're done, you'll be going on pension. I thought about it. I was like, wow. Can you imagine somebody saying something like that to you? You know, so discouraging. I went home, I was like, wow. She said that something, but I didn't answer back, you know. I mean, respecting the person who was being operated, I didn't even say anything, but I could not say anything at that time either. I was just in awe, like the person could say something like that. But that did not stop me, you know. It did never stop me. I just continued doing what I was doing. I started my nursing, and I'm happy. Like, I didn't let somebody's judgment, somebody's talk, thoughts stopped me from becoming a nurse. And there was also some people in my life who said something like I was going to study forever, because I did not go straight to nursing school. I was like, let me start like a helper. It's called a helper in Denmark. I don't know if they have that in other countries, but it's like something before you become a nurse assistant. So I started there to make sure like I wanted to work with people. I didn't want to jump into being a nurse before I knew like, do I like working with people? You know, do I like touching people? Because when you're a nurse, when you're working like in people like I do, you're going to touch people. You're sometimes going to be skin on skin. You're touching people. You know. You're going to help them to the toilet, you know, or they're going to throw up. You don't have somebody to do that. You're a nurse, you're going to have to do that. So I wanted to figure out, is this something I want to do? So I started like a helper, and then when I was done, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a nurse assistant. I did not want to go straight to nursing. And then some people in my life made fun of me. And, you know, like some people, they say something like they think it's a joke, but then it's not a joke. It like hurts you because they're saying, oh, maybe you end up being a doctor. I didn't find that funny because I felt like they were making fun of me. But yeah, I did not let those judgments stop me. But I also, like when I met Jan, I had been in another relationship which had not ended up very well. And I still wanted to find somebody. But I had this doubts. I was thinking, like, what are people going to think? Immediately, you went from that relationship and now you're going into another relationship. It's because, like, some people, they have been in a relationship, it doesn't work. They're like, oh, I'm done, you know? So I thought about it. I was like, no, I'm not going to let people's judgments stop me from finding what I want to find, or from finding happiness or whatever. So I continued dating, and then I met my husband. So if I had let those judgments, if I had let like those thoughts, fear of what people are gonna say, I would never have met Jan. I mean, you know. So many people are out there, like they not, sometimes it's not even just the judgments from strangers. Sometimes people are fearing judgments from their own kids, some own grown-up kids, you know. So some people here, like in Denmark, maybe they're like in the 50s, even 60s. Nobody says because you're in the 60s, you should not be in a relationship, find a new relationship. But sometimes people here, when they're at that age, they maybe they have divorced, they're in their 60s, and they do want to find somebody. But they fear what their children are going to say. They fear what people around them are going to say. Am I old? Am I not too old? My husband, don't let fear get in his way. He was past 60 when we met, and he went out and started dating, and then we met, you know. So we both are like that. We didn't let fear get into our way, to our happiness. But I think fear can paralyze you, actually, because you're in a bad situation and you don't want to go, but you don't like the situation you are in, and then, you know, and then you feel paralyzed. Fear is going to stop you from achieving your dreams. Fear is going to stop you from achieving your goals, the things you want to achieve. And I think also what you have to do, you stop being around people who are not positive, the no sayers, or the nayers they call them, because if you're around people who are not positive, if you're around people who are nayers, and then you have this fear, if you tell these people who are nayers or who are not positive, who are negative people, they're going to say, oh, you're right, don't you do that, you're going to fail, or somebody did that and they failed, and this and that. So you should maybe not tell people. Yeah, if you have so much fear about even what people are going to think about your goals, then don't tell them. Just go do something, and if you fail, you fail. You know, you didn't tell anybody. But if you're around negative people and then you tell them something, you tell them even you're fearing, they will enforce your fear. They will make your fear even worse. And also, if like people who are jealous of you, if you fear doing something and then you tell it to somebody who's jealous of you, they're going to make even your fear worse, you know. So if you want to do something and you have a fear, don't tell people. But also embrace the fear and figure out, why am I scared? What can go wrong? Yeah, I think sometimes you have to tell them, what is the worst thing that can go wrong? If I'm going to start if I'm going to do something and the consequences are not like so bad, they're going to make me sick, they're going to make me lose so much money that I will end up on the street, then go for it. You know, you have to like ask yourself, what can go wrong? And that can help you to make a decision. Because sometimes I think a lot of you here, you have been wanting to start YouTube, and you're so afraid of what people are going to think. Now, YouTube is not easy. Being on social media is not easy. But you have to ask yourself, what can go wrong? Somebody sitting and saying bad things about you that are not true. Somebody sitting and saying, oh, whatever you're saying don't make sense. Oh, you don't speak good English. Oh, something's wrong with your hair. Oh, something is wrong with your nose. What is the worst part what is the worst that can happen when somebody says those things to you? Are they true? If somebody is saying your hair is ugly or your nose is ugly, is it true? Because then you're giving the other person a lot of power if you're agreeing with them, like what they're saying is true. So a lot of you here, you have been saying writing or you want to start, but you're always afraid and say, I'm going to start. And some of you haven't started your YouTube channels because you are so afraid of other people's opinions. You are so afraid of what people are going to say and judge you. Let them judge you, because a lot of these people who are going to be talking about you and judging you, they don't have they don't have whatever you have. For example, when many people here who do like those not nice comments, many of them they don't have YouTube channels. They just have a channel to just comment. They have not even a picture. If they are so sure of themselves, if they have so much confidence in themselves, they should have a picture on their profile that shows who exactly they are, so we can go and see who is this person commenting. But they never do that. So guys, you let fear stop you from starting your YouTube channel. 2026 is coming. You better push that fear away and pack it away under the bed and start your YouTube channel, right? Yeah, also I think if you're afraid of doing something because you're afraid of failure, but always like we learn from our mistakes. So if you do something and then you fail, there's a reason why you failed. Then you have to take that failure and figure out, how can I do better? Or just take a failure as a lesson. Then you have learned a lesson, or I should not have done that, or I should have done something different. So don't be so much afraid of a failure. Go do something. The small kids, they learn how to walk. They get up, they fall. They get up, they fall. That's how you learn. You don't learn by not doing. If a little baby just sit there and they don't get up and try to walk, they're never gonna walk. So they get up, walk, fall, they get up, walk and fall until they get very well at it, and then they keep on walking. It's the same thing. If you don't try, you can never know if you could have succeeded or failed. So I don't fear failure. I take failure as a good lesson, because in some of my relationships I've been, before I met Yan, one of the relationship I was in, what lesson I had, I told myself, I was in this situation, it was not good for me, but what did I learn from this? We cannot always just be blaming the other person, like, I was in a relationship and the person was bad and this and that. I have to ask myself, what was my part? What have I learned? What I learned is like I had bad judgment of people, because if I have ended up being in a relationship with this person, I made a bad judgment. So that's my fault, If I had good judgment, if I sat down and thought, because in that relationship I felt like I was maybe love bombed, like everything went quick. I felt I was not love bombed, like let's move in together. It went so fast, and it was my judgment. I should have said, this is going too fast for me. Let's pause. So I have to see, like, what did I learn from this situation I was in, and not always like put the fault on the other person. When I'm going into the new relationship, I have to like take some lessons I got from that relationship, and not just like be afraid, like, I'm afraid the next person is going to be like that person. No, I learned I have to have better judgment, and I did that with my husband. There's so many things I was like, if this is going too fast, we have to do this, we have to do that. We also had to do things my way, our way, not just the other person's way, because the other person's way was like rushing me into a relationship. But I was a grown-up woman. I could have said, let's put a break on that, but I didn't. I also think you have to make your dreams bigger than your fears, right? Because if you put your fears bigger than your dreams, the fears are going to win. So you have to like look at, what are the goals? What will happen when I do this thing? Not so much focus on what will go wrong. Don't focus so much on what's gonna go wrong. Focus so much on the good things that will come out. And I think that can push the fear a little bit on the side, if you know what I mean. Don't let other people's failure get in your way. Don't let other people's failures define you. Because I think, if you might tell somebody, I'm going to do something, and they say, I did that, did not go well, so I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't let other people's failures define your dream, your goal, because people are different. So, that's why there's so many different people who are doing so many different things, and some people failed at at it, and some people did not fail at it. For example, when I was starting the YouTube, I even remember like my husband, he was very supportive, has always been supportive, and he's still supportive of me. But also, because there was a time where I wanted, you have to reach, in order to start making anything on YouTube, you have to reach 4,000 hours and 1,000 followers and stuff like that. And I was like, at some point I was thinking like, oh, will I ever achieve this? I'm kind of getting tired of this, because every time I'm about to reach there, they remove some of the hours and everything. And I said to my husband, the only thing I want is to get monetized. I don't even care like if I make money or not, but I just want to reach this criteria. So I passed that, so I know I have done that. So I just want to reach the 4,000 hours and 1,000 followers, so I get monetized. But I didn't care so much like making money, because I didn't think I was gonna be able to make any money. And my husband, I could see it in his eyes, he was like, do you think you're ever gonna make any money? I was like, it don't matter, I just want to get monetized, and I could feel his doubt, and that kind of made me a little bit sad. But at the same time, he's my biggest supporter. He's always taking my videos. He's always, even when we're places, he always say, oh, Millie, you are not filming, So he's my biggest supporter. But I could also see him kind of doubting a little bit, because it had taken a long time. But then it happened, and then he was like surprised, like when those days when I just got monetized, I made some good money. And then he was like surprised. And also, I never told a lot of people about my YouTube. Some people followed me, but I never told people that I was trying to get monetized, because I never in the beginning thought ever I wanted to make money on YouTube. I did it like in the beginning. I did it like because I love filming. I like taking videos. I like photographing and everything. So I was doing YouTube, but then I thought like, oh, people are making money. But it's hard to get monetized. So my goal was just to get monetized, like even if I don't make money, but I knew like, let me get monetized one day, maybe in a year, 2, maybe even 5 years. I said to my husband, maybe in 3 years I'll be able to make money, but I want to get past that. So I have that, like I got monetized, because it's very difficult to get monetized. So, but I could see that in him doubting me. But then I did it, guys. And if you don't know, I don't think actually there's many African YouTubers in Denmark. So I think actually if you go on YouTube and Google like things about Denmark, you see my YouTube comes up. So I'm really proud of myself that I never let fear get in my way, because I think even I had so little views, and that's why I didn't even want people to find my YouTube, because I was always afraid they're going to say like, why is she bothering? She's not getting any views. Sometimes I'll get like views like past 1,000, when I did those fashion videos, but sometimes I got so few views. Like 200, 300, 400, 500, something like that. So I didn't want people to find my YouTube, because I didn't want them to judge me. But that did not stop me. If they found me, they found me. And I just kept on doing it. I kept on doing it. And now, see, my YouTube grew, and I never let the fear get into my way. I used to fear also if my neighbors found out, or if even now, fear is always there. But if they find out, they find out. I am not afraid of them finding out. But I used to be afraid, like, what if my neighbors find out? What if people at my work, they find out? People are nosy, and people find out, they're going to... I remember one time I was on TikTok, letting you, like, I'm not saying like fear is gone from me, but I don't let it stop me. I remember my colleague came and said, I was on TikTok, and actually I was doing very well on TikTok. So my somebody at work came and said, my goodness, Millie, I saw you on TikTok. I was like, what? This TikTok goes so far. I removed my account. Even my account was actually doing well. I just removed it. But I didn't remove it because I was afraid of people finding me. I just removed it because I think TikTok was very toxic, the people, the comments, I don't mind people making comments. The comments never made sense. Like, oh, your house looks like a dentist. Oh, people just being mean, for no reason. And I was like, I cannot deal with that. But I'm not saying like I don't fear, like everybody has this fear, but I embrace it, and I keep on telling myself, what's going to happen? What if my neighbor finds out I have a YouTube? So what? I'm not doing anything illegal. What if my my colleagues, they find out, they're going to see how I live and everything. So what? I don't mind, you know. So I keep on telling myself, like, what am I? I'm not doing anything illegal. So let them find out I have a YouTube. It doesn't matter. And I think that makes a lot of some of you who want to start YouTube, you are so afraid of people finding you and stuff. Let them find you. If you're be creative, you have so much. A lot of you have so many things, like you're good at food, you're good at gardening, you could be sharing all these creative ideas, but you let fear come in your way. And not only that, I feel like all these videos I make, they are a journal for me. Not these videos like of sitting down, but like my vlogs and everything, those are journals for me, that my grandkids are going to be sitting there and see how their grandma, their grandpa, how things were and all that. What a big, nice gift, beautiful gift to give them, you know. So guys, you need to stop playing safe, and you need to stop letting fear come in the way of achieving your dreams. You need to have the audacity to do things you want to do. Guys, tomorrow is not promised, you know. You have only one life. Why would you waste it on fear, you know? Why would you waste your life on fearing and fearing? 1 year goes, 2 years go, 3 years goes, and you still have this thing you've been talking about 5, 6 years you want to do, and you're letting fear of strangers, you know, fear of people who mean nothing to you get in the way of achieving that. Just imagine you're 90 years old, you're in your dying bed or wherever you're 90 years old, and you're sitting there and you're thinking like, wow, I wish I had done that. I wanted to do this, but I never did it because I was afraid. How sad will that be, guys? How sad will that be? So have the audacity, guys. Have the audacity to do they say it like that? Audacity? Guys, have the audacity to go and do what you want to do. Have the audacity to stop caring about what people think, because they are going to judge you if you do it or you don't. But at the end of the day, what are you going to be thinking? At the end of the day, how sad will it be for you sitting there and you're 90 years old, if you even get that old, and regretting the things you did not do just because you were afraid. I hope I post this video, guys, because I was so tired. I was rambling, but I hope it encourages you to go and do whatever you want to do and stop caring about what people think. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope to see you in another video, and have a nice day.